Can I put this here? Okay, let me see. All right. Let me start. Something easy is thank you all for coming. And then I want to shout out everyone that's in the acknowledgements that is here. So, Dr. Ford, thank you so much for being here. You're in the acknowledgements. You helped me tackle imposter syndrome and motivated me to properly promote myself, which I'm very grateful for. And then we have, let's see, my friend Darby. Um, Thank you for helping me with the book cover. You have a keen eye and made the design look much better. So the cover is much improved thanks to Darby. Yes, and then Mage. Where are you? There you are. You were a wonderful beta reader, and you helped me get used to promoting an erotic romance novel, which I'm sure was entertaining for you to witness. So thank you. Okay, very good. Great. And then, of course, I want to shout out that the zine was made by my friend Shay. So all of the cute art in there. They're not here, but very helpful. Let's see. So this is the first edition of Caramel and Water Stains over here. There's only like 4 left of those ever. And then I'm going to make a second edition and it'll have a completely different cover and like a redesign. So if you're like some type of collector version of Caramel and Water Stains, the first edition is just going to not be able to be bought ever again. So just want to warn you with that. Okay. Also, there's a sequel for Caramel and Water Stains soon. It doesn't have a title yet, but it'll be book 2 of Caramel and Water Stains. I think it'll only be 2. I'm not going to make it a trilogy, so it'll just be Caramel and Water Stains, and then whatever book 2 ends up being called. I think it'll come out sometime next year. So that's really exciting. All right. I'm going to read chapter 1 of My Patron to you all. It takes me about 8 minutes, so please strap in. And before I read, this book is written with 4 characters and it switches POVs throughout. So this first chapter is from Ridley's point of view, who is a writer. And he has like an unhealthy relationship with food. And it is mentioned in chapter 1. And I'd want you to know that it is not treated as a good thing in the book. So it does become like part of the conflict of the book, but it is there. So, chapter 1. I walk out the school's double doors, wave to the front desk staff, and start this walk home for the last time. My laptop bag is tucked against my side and bounces against me with each step. The sky is darkening from clouds rolling in. Luckily, I make it home still dry. I jog up the stairs of my apartment building and happily toe off my shoes in the entryway, dropping my bags on the floor and collapsing face first into the couch so I can hide my head under a throw pillow. I groan and the sound reverberates from being trapped against the cushion. My phone buzzes, making me jump. It's either Honey or work. I debate checking it and eventually fold in case it is Honey. I wouldn't want to leave her waiting. Honey, how was work? Was today your last day? I smile at her familiar gold icon before standing to text back. I pace around the living room while responding and then check outside. It's snowing. I take a photo of the city in the white haze to send to her too. Robin. It was definitely work. For snow, how's your weather? I watch the snow fall while waiting for her reply. The wind makes a small spiral of snowflakes on the balcony just up for a few seconds before collapsing. It's cold enough for the snow to stick right away, so there's a small film of white on the rooftops and tree branches already. Honey, congratulations. I'm glad you were able to get through the last day. The weather here is warming up. It's approaching comfortable outdoor temperatures for me now. That's good. Do you have any warm weather plans? I'm looking forward to walking in the garden without shivering. I also like how the lake looks in the summer when the flowers are all open and fresh. I smile at her answer and wonder how to respond. I want to vent about work more, but I also want to stop thinking about it. I decide to bring up something random instead. Did you watch the MV yet? She replies immediately. I laugh under my breath at her enthusiasm. Of course, it's perfect. Have you? Not yet. I consider asking if we could watch it together, but we haven't video called before. She's been skittish about showing her face, so I don't want to ask. I've only ever seen her in heavy cosplay makeup. I don't think she's hiding who she is, but it's still nerve-wracking to ask to see a friend's face for the first time, especially hers. My brain whispers to me and I sigh. I stop looking out the window to sit back on the couch. It's kind of pitiful having a crush on someone who doesn't even know my real name. We've only shared our fake internet names, Honey and Robin. I watched the video to avoid thinking anymore. Honey's favorite video game released a music video for their main theme, and my favorite violinist. The concept went perfectly because the protagonist in the game plays a violin too. Madrigal's playing is excellent as usual, and her smoky voice suits the creepy ambiance of the game. It's not often she sings in her songs, so I savor every second of it. Honey was right, as usual. The video is perfect. Robin. As expected, perfect. Right? Can I be nosy for a second? I hesitate, knowing she'll probably ask about my job. Sure. Do you have a second job lined up already? What is it? I stare at her message for so long that she sends another. Also, I'm so proud of you for quitting. I could tell it wasn't good for you. I'm glad you're moving on. I sigh and start pacing around the living room. Do I tell her everything? Should I admit some things? Thank you. I'm honestly not sure what I'm going to do. I was hoping my writing would be enough, but I'm not sure it will be after that journal shut down. Oh, shit. Really? I blink at her sudden tone change. It's not often that something can catch her off guard. Are you actually in need of money then? I remember you really counting on them paying for that publication, which was incredible, by the way. I still randomly reread it. I blush at her text despite the looming anxiety of running out of money. I type, delete a few times. Can't decide what to tell her. Be honest and say I made a dumb, spur of the moment decision. Lie and say I'll be fine making rent next month. Lie and say I'll gladly take any money she can scrounge up to help. I'm glad you like it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I can save and be more careful, and I'll probably be able to stretch the savings until I find another job. I was counting on having more time, but I think I can still do it with the time I've got. At worst, I just ask for a rent extension and explain to them what happened. That sounds stressful. How much time do you have? I rub my eyes and laugh in disbelief at her ability to ask the one question I didn't want her to. About a month, but I can stretch it to 2. I was planning on having 2 months, but you know how it is. She doesn't reply for a while, so I distract myself with chores. My stomach growls while I clean, but I don't feel like I've worked hard enough to eat dinner today, so I ignore it. I drink a glass of water instead and commit to writing more tomorrow so I can eat. I know it's unhealthy, but hunger pains are my best motivator when it comes to writing and submitting to journals. After cleaning up the kitchen, I finally strip out of my work clothes. I decide to take a bath instead of a shower so I can answer my phone if Honey replies. Her abrupt silence is worrying me, but this isn't the first time it's happened, so I hope everything is fine. My phone buzzes while I'm relaxing in the tub. Familiar anxiety spikes. Is it work or is it Honey? I hope it's her again, and not a journal's email. I have it set to notify me when my work is accepted or declined for publication. I dip some of my face in the water as I hesitate, feeling childish for hiding, but enjoying the warm water regardless. I eventually gain the courage to sit up, dry a hand, and grab my phone. Honey, I'm sending someone your way that can help, but I wanted your permission first because I don't know how prudish you are. Prudish? I look up the word, not certain I understand what she's asking me. I flush at the definition, rereading reserved with sexual affection several times before it clicks what she's doing. What? 1, how on earth do you know this person? 2, I am not fit for having a sugar daddy. You don't know what I look like. I could be a gross little rat and you wouldn't know. He's really sweet. I met him the same way I met you. And it doesn't matter what you look like. If he thinks you're nice, he'll definitely pay your rent. Just try. I let out a relieved sigh that she met him from her cosplay like I did. I texted her a little over a year ago how much I loved her work, and we've been talking ever since. I wouldn't judge her for meeting him through more promiscuous means, only that she hadn't brought it up until now. I don't want to think about why she would have hidden something like that from me. She seemed very open so far, except with her appearance outside of cosplay. I take a deep breath before replying, trying to calm down and not reflexively shoot down her idea. What makes you think I even want to do that? What if I say no? I know you. You didn't say no. You'll be fine. Just text him and see if he likes you. Even if he doesn't, he'll probably pay for wasting your time. I groan and dip my hair back into the water, holding my arm out over the lip of the tub so my phone doesn't get splashed. I consider it for a moment, listening to the resonant hum of my apartment while submerged in the bath. Fine. I'll talk to him. then apologize for wasting his time, and hopefully he'll give me enough to cover next month's rent. Great. And even more likely, he'll text you, like you, and then you can have a sugar daddy for the next few months. You're crazy. No, I'm right. You'll see. I laugh at her confidence and wonder how she knew I would agree to this. I don't know what gave her the impression that this was something normal to do for a person. An unknown number texts me, and my eyes widen. I almost drop my phone, desperate to escape this scenario by any means. He texted already. Yay, you'll do great. Oh my God, I mumble and open the new message. Is this Robin? Yes, who is this? Oh my God, I groan again and rest my forehead on the side of the tub, sloshing the water around me and shivering as it starts to cool down. Jess, I'm Honey's friend. She told me you were in need of extra funds, but that's all I know. Before I can reply, he sends another text, which surprises me. He seemed professional, although likely a facade, so I didn't think he would text twice. Well, she also said you two were close, and she had faith you would be a good fit, although that's entirely up in the air. Don't feel pressured and don't act fake, please. Don't act fake. I'm offended before I remember he doesn't know anything about me. He must think I do this all the time. Well, if he wants me to be real, then I should clarify it, right? Okay, this is all new to me. Honey sprung this on me just now. I've never seriously considered this before. What do you think this is? I falter at the question. Is he being serious? What if I've got this all wrong? I stay vague just in case I misread this. Honey didn't correct me earlier, but if she thought it was funny, she wouldn't have anyway. You ask for photos and I ask for money? That's possible. Is that what you were expecting? I wince and distract myself with the bath for a moment, adding more hot water so I can comfortably stay in longer. The phone buzzes as I'm drying my hands again and I flinch, almost dropping the towel in the water. I'm expecting you to be a break from normal life. I want someone in my sphere that won't be fake. Be yourself. Don't lie if you think we're disagreeing. Argue if you want. Ask questions if you want. Consistently text back and ask for money whenever you need to. What the hell? I reread his message several times. Jazz must be a really lonely person. It sounds like he just wants a friend. You need good company? I can do that, I think. After I hit send, I remember he said I could ask questions. What's your job? You must make a lot of money if you're doing this, right? I work in tech, so I make a decent amount, yes. So what exactly do you want me to do then? Just answer your texts? Yes. You're going to be my new breath of fresh air. And that is chapter 1. Okay, I have a fun surprise for you, which is that there is a sci-fi book coming out in like July-ish. I'm going to read y'all chapter 1 of that. It's very, very short, but it is a sneak peek. Here we go. Okay, so it's a sci-fi about a robot who was in a simulation and they were a human being. And then they get woken up out of that simulation against their will. And they get really angry about it because now they're a robot in the real world. And the whole book is basically them trying to decide if they stay in the real world as a robot or if they go back into the simulation and be a human being. And that's like the whole book. It's called A Summer of Static. And it is loading really slow. One day. I think it's loading slow because of the Zoom call. Oh, my mom put the applause emoji in chat. Thank you. But oh, I also wanted to mention if arrogant men are annoying to you, I want you to know that Jazz in like the next 2 chapters gives away how much of a dork he is. And he is not as cool as his first introduction makes him seem. So I just wanted you to know. I'm just watching the thing spin right now. I'll give up on it in a second, but I want you guys to get the sneak peek of this. Well, while that is slowly opening, mm, 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 the QR code on the back of all the zines have a link to the website for like all the publications and stuff. And there's like a little newsletter sign up sheet. So if y'all want to get emails, I will not spam you, I promise. You're only going to get an email like when a book comes out. But if you want to sign up for that, feel free. It's on there. Mhm. Okay, I'm giving up. I'm giving up on the chapter one of this. When it loads, oh, it just needed to hear me say I give up. It's open. Fantastic. Okay. This takes me like 2 minutes to read. So this book comes out in July-ish. Please don't write that down. It comes out sometime in the summer. So this is chapter one of A Summer of Static. The curtain opens and Purcell steps out into the light. The crowd quiets when they sit at the piano. They know they're going to play perfectly. They've been practicing these songs for months. They take one last deep breath, hold it, count the opening rhythm in their head, and play. The weight of the keys is familiar under their fingers, and the lurching pedal stays placed firmly under their foot. They smile as they perform, leaning and sinking their body to the music. Their songs pass quickly. When it's over, Purcell hesitates to lift their hands. There's an odd film over the white keys, like they stared up at the lights too long and it left an afterimage. They try to blink it away, lift their hands, feel the room inhale, and waiting to applaud. Purcell sits back to stand, but their back hits something where there should be open air, and that afterimage just won't go away. The applause starts, but it's wrong. Hello? You're all right. A man's voice comes from the shadow, which they try to wipe from their eyes again. Well, be careful, you might scratch your glass. Some faraway force is restraining their arm, like they're being pushed underwater. They wrench their arm out of its grip, hitting their face by accident, and release a startled noise that they can't feel in their throat. The rumbling applause for their performance hasn't stopped, but they're no longer seated at the piano. A man's face comes into focus, someone they don't recognize, bearded but young, with clothes covered in oil and grease stains, and a worried expression. I'm Talus. You're all right. Try to slow down. It's okay. Purcell tries to take a deep breath, but their diaphragm is frozen. They panic at the choking sensation and move to tear at whatever is immobilizing them. Everything feels wrong, far away, abstracted. Purcell is sure it's from shock, but they've never been this disoriented before. They don't drink, don't go out with friends. They're pretty sure they haven't been kidnapped. Nothing explains how they're in this messy garage filled with metal junk and a man they've never met. He's trying to keep their hands from ripping their restraints off. But then they really look at their hands. They look at their body. They've been forced into some metal shell with silver and chrome pieces where their torso should be. There are gaps of nothing on their sides where organs should go, a thinner frame than would fit their skeleton at bare minimum. Their hands are lifeless and cold material where they should be flesh and blood. You're safe. You were in a simulation. And that is chapter one.
Ooh.
Thank you. Okay. This is the Q&A section where you guys can just ask me anything. Any book, any self-publishing, any, I don't know, how I got this event booked in Firestorm. Anything at all. I will brag about Firestorm if there are no questions. So. Yes.
What was your favorite part about writing My Patron?
I wrote the first draft of My Patron in 17 days. And then I spent 7 months editing it. So I would say the most fun part of writing My Patron was the absolute marathon that I did in 17 days. The first draft was about 80,000 words. And now it's like 100, I think it's almost exactly 100,000 words. Um, it's definitely improved from the first draft. There are like 3 whole new chapters in the first draft, but I think it was really, really fun writing it so quickly because I got to see like all of the threads carry through. So I think it's a fast read despite it being like 400 pages or something because I did write it so quickly that I think you can tell when you're reading it. Like my roommate read this book in 6 hours in one day, and she's like, "I'm done," and I'm just like, "You're scary." She's terrified. But yeah, I think it was really, really fun to just the first draft as a whole went by so quickly that it was just I don't know. It was nice to see it just exist. I don't know. It was like instant gratification, even though it like took so long. So it was entertaining.
What have been your favorite genres to write so far? Out of all the genres you read.
Um, God, that's really hard. My favorite genre to write. Sci-fi is really hard, so it's not that. Um, Sci-fi, you have to stop and Google like every 20 minutes because you're like, I don't know what this is. And like the Summer of Static is in the year 2100. I don't know what's going to happen in 2100. So every few minutes I Google like predicted water level in 2100, and then I like recently decided that the coastal city of North Carolina is no longer Wilmington. It's God, I can't even remember. But I had to like look up the like sea level rise predicted in 2100, and it's like stuff like that that makes sci-fi, even though it's so fun to read, it's not as fun to write. So I think realism is actually the most fun to write because I don't have to Google anything because it's just the world that I'm in. I write a lot of fantasy though. Like Caramel and Water Stains is technically fantasy. Um, and I say technically because it reads like realism, except for just one character. There's just the one that makes it not realism. Um, but I would say, yeah, for sure. Either fantasy, the way that I do it, where it's like I don't have to world build, or realism are the most fun because I can write it quickly because I don't have to Google anything. Yeah. But sci-fi is the most fun to read, so it's not the same. Just interesting.
Who makes the physical copies for the book?
Who makes them? Who prints them is they have a weird name. If you Google Diggy Pod, it's like Diggy Pod. They are a like small business printing company in Michigan, I think. And I just send them the PDFs and then they print them and they mail them to me and they're lovely. I use them because they're like so like they send so many proofs and they send so many like, is this what you want? Are you sure? And I'm like, yes, thank you. And then like you can pay them just a little bit extra and they'll like actually go through like all of your text and like your files and make sure you didn't do like some dumb mistake. Very, very helpful for me. So yeah, DigiPod has been really, really nice.
But on the same vein of self-publishing, I'm curious, what is like the hardest part of self-publishing your experience?
The hardest part, I have 2 answers to this question. I have the honest answer and then I have like the good answer. The honest answer is that I'm really, really bad at promoting myself. So the hardest part is actually when the book is done and then I just like have it. And then I just continue to have it. And I just like don't advertise because I'm scared. Um, oh, I'll answer your question in a second. But yeah, no, but the like more normal answer is that in the actual writing side of it, the hardest part is God, I think like the final read-throughs, like the final read-throughs where I'm just like I've read the book. I think I read My Patron this month, well, like this and last month when I was getting it printed, like 10 times. Like front to back, I read it like 10 times in like 2 weeks because I was just read through after read through looking for every single typo possible. And it was like every single read through, I found one, and that terrified me. And I was like, I can't. So the hardest part is like stopping that and just being like, it's done now. Maybe there's still something left that's wrong. I just need to order them now. Like, yeah, that is definitely the hardest part as well with like when do you stop trying to achieve perfection, which is not a thing that can be achievable, unfortunately. Let's see. My mom. Hello. Who is your favorite character from My Patron and why? This is a hilarious question. Mostly because I love them all. But my favorite is Anise. She is the trans girl from Chile. She is always right. And it's like her character flaw, but it's also like the most endearing part of her. She's always right. And unfortunately, her ego is massive, but she is always right. So it's not even that she's like wrong because she's never proven wrong. So it doesn't even become a character flaw. She's just like a little obnoxious, but you can't even fault her for it because I'm like, yeah, you're just correct. And it's really entertaining to see how that unfolds. Like if you read the back of the book, it says like she basically sets up all of her friends so that she can date them because she just wants a polycule and it works. And it's really annoying. But it's just so endearing. I don't know. Also, her moms in the book are kind of like my favorite secondary characters. Her moms are hilarious. Every scene with them is really entertaining. So I think Anise is my favorite. Although, of course, they're all dear to my heart. I mean, everybody gets a POV for a reason because I think they're all so cool.